So every writer, they've dreamed of writing that great American novel, or maybe telling their stories to their kids, but they just don't have time. It's hard writing a book. A book is a very long thing, and it can be very discouraging. But what if you didn't have to? What if you could use AI to do it for you? So this video is going to look at what writers are doing with the AI, how they're writing books with it, how they're using it just as a tool to help them as they write. And it's going to address some of the limitations to it and help you decide if it's something that you want to consider as a writer. So to get started, I'm going to be using a tool called ChatGPT, and you can just type it into Google and you should find it right away. I already have an account here, so I can just do try ChatGPT and it's going to launch it for me. But if you don't have an account, it's going to ask you to sign up. It's all free and easy to use. So click on that. And this is the main screen. And I'll start by saying I'm not an expert on the legal limitations of all this, so use it as you will. I don't personally use it right now as a writer, but I have been exploring, is there things to it that I should be thinking about that will help me to write faster. And so one of the first things I think I can help a lot of writers with is their plots. A lot of us, do we sit down at the computer, we want to write a book, we kind of have this idea of it, but then we have to plot it out and we struggle with it. So we may have a plot already written, but it's not very good. We just need help improving it. So with ChatGPT, you can paste in your outline and you can tell it to change it around, maybe add things to it. Maybe you want to add humor to it, or you want to add romance to it, or you want to do something to it. So you can use it to do that, or you can have it just write it for you and then kind of work it as you go. So I'm going to start by trying to ask it to do an outline for a plot that's pretty unique. So Westerns, there's not a lot of Westerns out there. I'm going to start with the Western. And write me an outline, chapter outline. Western. And I'm going to say set in space. I want it to humans and aliens. And let's see, I want it to have suspense, or let's say have suspense. I want a plot that revolves around, let's say, politics and murder. A planet in a distant galaxy. I want the spaceships to look like boats. I don't know why, but it just sounds weird and I want to see what it does. I want two characters to fall in love. I want a main character to die. I want the death to be a betrayal. And you can make this as elaborate as you want. You can see I'm just adding a lot of stuff to this. You can continue adding as much as you want or as little as you want. You could just say, I want a chapter outline for Western Sun Space and see what it does. I'm trying to help the AI out a little because I want it to, the more context you add, the better this is going to be. So let's go ahead and start with this, and I'll say I want it to be 15 chapters. And here we go, it's writing the plot. or the chapter outline. And this is a decent outline. It's better than I expected. When I first heard about AI, I'm like, well, this sounds very gimmicky. This doesn't seem very gimmicky to me. This seems like a tool that could help me as I'm writing a book. And again, I question the ethics of using this to write an entire book. I think it could be used as a tool, but I think writers should be careful here. I think they could. I don't know. It loses its heart when you just use AI to do everything. But at the same time, I am helping it in this process. And it's also quick. When I typed this in, I kind of thought there'd be a delay. I would have to think about it, but it's really not thinking at all. So there's a little bit of limitation with the amount of text we'll add. So I'm just going to do continue, and it's going to continue with the outline. And now when it's done, I can retool it. So I can say, well, I don't like chapter 10. Give me some different ideas for it. And it will, it will rewrite that. And I did 15, so it's going to take a little bit of time. It's almost done now. And then you can do a new chat if you want to ask it about another book or work on another book. And you can save these chats to go back to it. But when you're working in a chat, it remembers what you're talking about. So everything you ask, all the questions I add into this query, they're going to relate back to this chat right here. So I can say, give me some different ideas for chapter 15. And it's going to give me a couple different ideas. So, you could add in your entire plot and then have it help you rewrite it. So you could say, I really like my plot, but it needs more characters. So the AI would help you add in some characters. You could say, I don't really like the climax, and it would give you a different climax. So a lot of really cool things that it can do. And then here's where it gets interesting. So this whole thing was interesting, but I can actually say, write the first chapter. I want the first chapter to be 1,500 words. I want it. Alright, there we go. I'm not going to say, I was going to say something else, but I'm going to wait. And notice how, it's not robotic. You hear AI and you think robots, but this is actually very natural and fluid. Like the language, it feels like a book. I think if you were using this to write a book, you'd obviously want to add your own flair to it. You'd want to rewrite it. But it gives you a place to start, which is crazy how far it's come in such a short time. It's adding dialogue, it has the characters' names, and I like some of these descriptions, it doesn't just say the man replied, it says the man replied gruffly, it's telling you, it's showing, not telling, in a sense, which is something that we always say to do in writing. So I like this, but let's say I want more dialogue. I want to have more dialogue. I want it to be funny, and I want it to sound like the style of Jane Austen. So you could even have your own book and say, I want my book to sound more like Jane Austen. And it's going to help you with that. And you'll notice how it's adding more dialogue. It's giving it a little bit of humor. Who knew robots were funny? And then it's putting it in the style of Jane Austen. And if I were to hit continue when this is done, it would keep writing. It would write chapter 2. There are character limitations to ChatAI. I'm not sure how many you can do in a query. You'd have to look into that if you want to do it. I don't really encourage anyone to write a full book using AI. I think you probably wouldn't be happy with the results, but who knows, maybe you would. So it looks like it actually stopped mid-sentence, so I could do continue. Okay, it's writing a whole new chapter. So I don't know why it stopped mid-sentence, but there you go, there's a limitation to it. Maybe it just forgot to add the type, or the period. You can't stop it from writing, unfortunately. Okay, so it's done writing. Now, another really cool thing about Chat AI is you can have it help you with writing that synopsis. So we've all wrote that book and then we had to sell it and write that little blurb on Barnes & Noble or Amazon or wherever we're selling the book. And, a lot of us aren't very good at it. It's hard enough writing a book, but then to actually write a description of it to actually sell to people, that's hard. So you can say, you can post in your outline for it, and then say write a synopsis of it. I already have my outline here, so I'm going to say, write me a synopsis of the outline. And it's going to write me the whole synopsis, which means it's going to tell me all the plots, including the ending, which I think a lot of readers would not like. I mean, I wouldn't want to read a book if I already knew how it was going to end. So what I'm going to say is rewrite this, make the synopsis more engaging, don't give away any major plots, don't reveal the ending. And there you go, it's rewriting it again, but it's making it a little more engaging, taking away all those plots, and it's not going to tell anyone what the ending is. So it's telling them what the story is, who some of the characters are, and follow Jack and Sam through this thrilling journey and find out. So it did not tell you the ending. The other thing you can do is you can use this to edit your work. So what do I mean by that? Let's go in to Amazon. I'm in do a book that I wrote. A little bit of shameless promotion. It's actually the first book I wrote years ago. And I'm just going to copy that description there, and then I'm going to say copy edit. And it will come back with a copy of it. And you'll notice it's actually changing the text, which I personally don't like. I just wanted to straight copy edit of it. I didn't want it to give some different versions of it. I think if you're using it as an editing tool, you still want to read your work and make sure that it's not changing anything, changing the meaning of anything for you. But it's a good place to start. So that's a little bit about ChatGPT. I'd love to hear, what your thoughts of using it are. Have you ever used it as a writer? What limitations of it do you see? How would you use it as a writer? And maybe you wouldn't. What kind of things would you want to see before you started using it? So leave some comments in the chat and let's talk about it.